Today I'm here to talk to you about developer experience and how important that is for a company, and how it's going to be even more important as the future of work is going to change, and it's changing rapidly. I myself am Ramkumar Venkatesan, and I head engineering at Cash-Free Payments. And Cash-Free Payments is a pioneer who is sort of changing how we do transact anything about finance in India. And India itself is now #1 in digital transactions. We do more digital transactions than US, UK, Germany, France put together. That's a great achievement. Thanks for all the users. We got through COVID due to sort of fintech had a big part in that, right? Contactless payments. It allowed businesses to survive even when there was lockdown, etc. And India is supposed to grow 30x, right? We are already #1 in the world, and India is going to grow 30x in the coming years to $1 trillion in fintech. We are the leaders, and we are also building software, SaaS products. The evolution of the Indian software has, I think, completed, and we are in the big league today. We compete with the best in the world. We build best products from here in Bangalore and every place in India, and even the now tier 2, tier 3 cities as well. And to me, that's like playing the World Cup, right? SaaS, software as a service, is the holy grail of software development. And we're doing a fantastic job thanks to all the developers from across the world who are giving us intense competition, and all the developers here, right? Thank you all. So yeah, today's agenda, we'll understand the importance of DX, right? Developers, we are the ones who build we care about user experience. We care about customer experience. We build great products. So we thought how about some me time for all the developers? A little bit more, like who talks about developer experience? And even if we talk, maybe not that much, right? So we wanted to shine the spotlight on the developer experience and how it's going to be so important. We'll have to find out what they need, right? Just like we figure out what customers need, we do a lot of research, and there's a lot of research on, right, even how to approach customers, how to get what they need, etc. Not so much on the developer experience. And we'll also gain insights into what Cash-Free has done, right? We've been growing 2x or more every single year of our existence from 2016. We process upwards of $50 billion as of the last financial year in our gross total value. And that's going to double, triple, right? And all this is not possible without the great developers. And we'll share insights as to how we've grown and how we continue to develop a lot of new products and scale and be secure, etc. And lastly, we also want to hear from you. I know this is a very short session, about 30 minutes. We want to hear from you. We are here in booth #2. Please come and share your developer experiences, your great, awesome things that you've done in your companies. We want to learn and share. So please do stop by. And I didn't realize that we would be at the Satish Dhawan thing. The picture, I think, is a true tribute for him. Developers are the builders, right? They are the brains behind any software product, right? So we know how important the brain is, and the brain also needs, right now there is a lot about me time. How do we give ourselves, the brain, the rest? It needs to heal overnight. Don't stress it too much. Very, very similar is a software developer to a company. They are the key drivers of innovation, and they just don't want to have a job, right? They want to really, really create an impact. And when the developer experience is not smooth and is not enhanced for their daily productivity and for them to think outside the box, we have all of these things which says, right, do brainstorming, think outside the box. But if you don't have time to do that, and day in, day out, you are firefighting issues, or you are really, really going after one release after another, where is innovation going to come from? But if you provided a great developer experience, they'll be able to do all of that. What are the challenges? They are involved in every phase of the software development lifecycle, right? Developers are there everywhere. And just wanted to also note that by developer, I do not specify a single function thing. It's all developers, backend, frontend, SDETs, DevOps, even all the tech support engineers, right? All of them are building this product. They are involved in all of these phases of the software development cycle. It requires a lot of context switches, right? When you're talking to a PM, different set of mindset they have. When you're talking to fellow architects, fellow designers, different mindset, then you have to go actually code. And then we are shifting left on testing, we are shifting left on DevOps, etc. Developers have to do all of that also. There's a lot of context switch. And they are also in the critical chain of the software development lifecycle process. What do I mean by the critical chain? Is that's the longest time it takes between starting and ending, right? So development phase does take time, and they are in the critical chain. So if you can improve the developer experience, it's going to reduce this critical chain, and you can deliver faster. What is the advantage for the developers, right? We don't want the grumpy faces there, like I'm moving work, right? But we want the happy faces, least friction, and they continue to innovate. They have satisfaction. They are able to identify with the product. They are able to identify with the customer and build great experiences for them. And their overall engagement is going to increase, right? So you will have really, really happy developers who do not have Monday blues and are not saying, thank God it's Friday, but probably thank God it's Monday, right? I'm going to come, I'm going to change the world. And that's how we've been able to double, triple all our transaction volume at cash free. What are the competitive advantage, right? All of us talk about innovation, and we are seeing innovation every single day, right? The moment you wake up, right? I wake up by my alarm on my phone, which is software. Before going to sleep, I might listen to some soothing music, which is again software on my thing. So you wake up with software, throughout the day there's software, you pay for everything through software, and then you go to sleep, right? So software, everything touches every minute of your daily life. So a lot of innovation is happening, helping us. But now that's become a very, very basic thing for everyone, right? Like when we are at the booth, we get asked, how are you different from your competitor? And I'm sure they are asking that to all the competitors, right? Innovation is very key. We don't even have to debate that. But that is not enough, right? Today, if I'm telling that I have XYZ feature, which is better than the competitor, it's going to just take a matter of time before they catch up. And the same thing we are going to be doing. So not just innovation, but the speed of innovation is going to be extremely important. If you integrate the innovation over time, the winner will be one who has the maximum innovation done in 6 months, in 1 year. And not just that, it has to be sustainable, right? It's not like, okay, I'm going to push myself for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and then I have a monopoly in this particular thing, right? We are seeing the monopoly being broken in the biggest monopoly that we've seen, right, in the past 20 years in the search space. Is just changed in a matter of few months with ChatGPT coming along. I'm sure there's going to be intense competition there. So it's about innovation, speed of innovation, and even more so, sustainable innovation. And that is the differentiator. So the differentiator, if you ask me, between us and the competitor is not today's state, but it's the developers that we have and the experience that we provide, that they will continue to make us differentiated in the market. Right? We all know that DX is as important as UX or CX. Now, how do we do that? Right? So focus on the developers, go talk to them. Right? How is your day, right? How is your day going? What are the things that are slowing you down? And have a list of things that you can work upon. Right? Measure what matters. So I think DORA metrics, many of us would be familiar with, and that also gives an indication of what the developer experience is, right? So developers do not want to be slow. No one wants to be slow, right? But if your deployments to production are not fast enough, there is something else in the system that is slowing them down, right? There's only 24 hours in the day. No matter what we do, we are not going to be able to increase that. So that is one. And there are many other soft metrics, right, which cannot be measured. There are these 4 DORA metrics that we can measure, but there's a lot more that you cannot measure. So do some surveys, right? What is your net promoter score for the developer in your company? Right? Would they recommend your environment to other developers or not? Do that, and a combination of that should give you a DX roadmap. Okay. Now we don't stop at that. We want to do something about that because these are the most important people in the company. So include it in the roadmap. Talk with your product management. Get some time for this, right? That if you're going to be investing in the developer experience, I'm going to get so much more out of all of these great engineers. So we'll quickly look at the few phases, right? Architecture, design. I think now we've just in the previous session, we've talked about microservices and how it's going to be enabling the developers. In the monolith, there are a lot of dependencies. They're waiting a lot for the other teams to do things. In microservices, it's really for the developers. I'm not going to stress that much on that. The other one is the TLA plus. This is sort of gaining adoption in the larger companies, but it's very, very important for companies such as us. So we are a large, distributed, and massively scalable parallel system, right? We can't process $50 billion just like that, right? It's not a joke that we can just do that. And in finance, right, money is very important, so it has to be extremely transactional. Fast and accurate is not easy to do. So systems like the TLA plus allows you to put your process through that. It helps your verification to be much, much better, and it reduces the issues, and then you're not firefighting the production issues. Internal developer portal. This was what we came out when we talked to all our developers. We want to build this internal portal, and we were about to start that, and then we uncovered that Spotify had the exact same problem, and their thought process was exactly what we were going to do. So now we've adopted Backstage. We intend to contribute back. It gives you all the API docs, what are my dependencies. Many times in a large system, we have about 200 microservices in our company, right? At some point, people start losing context. If I change this, what else is going to break? And then if it breaks, again, right, that's not a great DX because they have to firefight late in the night or over the weekend. So internal developer portal is a must-have tool when you are in a microservice architecture. Microservice architecture is great for a lot of things, but after time, it sort of gets out of control. This helps you to gain back control. And while microservices are great, we don't want to be redoing the same thing in every particular team. That's also not great DX, right? Why should each one go through the same troubles that others have had? So we've reached that stage where we have a platform team, and they build all these common services, right? Now, it all looks good on paper, right? All of you know that reusability is great. In object-oriented design, we talk about this. But then going into the practical reasons of actually implementing their platform team is not that easy, because they have limited number of resources, they'll have a limited roadmap, and when you go ask them for a feature, they say, I can't do it, right? That again slows down innovation. So what we did was we'll have an open source culture within the teams. Okay, now that's great. In practice, how do you do that? Because in one team, they may take 7 days or 5 days to set up the environment, right? And that becomes a blocker for you to contribute to any other team. So then we dive down into the next one. And we said every developer and every microservice, I should be able to create an environment in 15 minutes, right? That was a requirement. And we use, we'll talk about that. We use certain technology to make sure that it's very, very easy to spin up a developer environment in a matter of minutes. And then you can code, right? Developers can very, very easily code, but most of the time they are not able to set up the environment, test it, and take it to production. Build versus use versus buy decisions, right? We build what is core to us. You can use the total cost of ownership and core versus non-core to make those decisions. Use open source software wherever possible. And in certain cases, managing, maintaining, upgrading the open source software may take some time and may actually slow you down. At that time, go in for the right purchase decisions as well. And look at the DX of all of those things that you are using, buying, or building. Next phase is the development. I think this is where I was alluding to. Everyone can create their environment on Kubernetes using vCluster and DevSpace. Right? Before that, it was on the laptop. They were constrained by the laptop, the speed of the laptop, how many services they can run, etc. But we've sort of shattered those barriers. CI/CD, GitOps, UTs, QA regressions provides the safety net for the developers to be fast and let that catch any issues. And we also, when you raise a PR, immediately regression is kicked off in this ephemeral environment, again using dev cluster and vSpace, that it will tell you, right, how good is your check-in, what are the tests that passed and failed. And we are actively looking at the generative AI in generating SDKs from APIs, generating unit tests, generating automation tests, etc. This is going to be coming. We don't see that as a threat, but as a great assistant for us. And lastly is the low-code, no-code tools that we've used. Before that, I think even for any internal tools that we had to build, we had to build the APIs, build the UI, and that was slowing us down. And now we've adopted low-code, no-code solution, and that has accelerated, right? We have built about 40 apps for all our internal teams to be able to manage their work as well. The next one is maintenance, the third phase, right? We cannot get away from maintenance. If your product is successful, if you have customers, there will be issues, there will be enhancements that you have to take care. One of my first company's CEO had said that, Larry Ellison from Oracle had said that only reason you can have 0 bugs is you have no customers or your installer doesn't work, right? So we don't want to be in that space. So maintenance is, you have to accept that, and then how do you make sure that that part of it is very manageable. We've upgraded ourselves to distributed tracing. Logs are there, but distributed tracing is even better, and you can debug things faster. Production traffic mirroring at our scale, where we process millions of transactions per day. We do performance tests in our different environments, etc. But certain issues can be replicated only with production traffic mirroring. So we are giving that power to the developer rather than having to do a lot of traditional debugging, be able to replicate production traffic and debug that. UOL program to manage features and then manage tech debt just like financial debt. We do, SaaS is great because we don't have to support that many versions, but still when you have an API product such as us, there might be a few versions. Actively sort of managing that, migrating customers onto the next version, managing that in your roadmap has helped the developer having to manage all these different versions as well. And last but not the least, I kept ideation at the last purposefully. All this is a cycle, right? It's not like we start with ideation and end with maintenance, because ideation is the next one. Listen to the voice of customer, get the engineers in front of the customers. Let them not be shielded by layers and layers of different teams. Get them in front of the customers. They should be in the customer escalation calls, in the sales pitches, QBRs. Give them brainstorming and ideation time. Create a pool of internal ideas. Monthly review that and support the people who are doing that. And experimentation and fail fast and speed, learn fast and succeed fast. We talk about fail fast, but the end result is to be succeeding fast. We built experimentation platform where people can not think too much as to whether this is going to be successful or not. Build it, ship it, see if there's adoption. Be okay to fail fast, take it out, or make it better so that it's the best for the customer. What can the leaders do? So have a vision for DX, why it's important, get the buy-in, and support and recognize DX champions within your company. Developers, voice your opinions, challenge status quo with reasoning. Maximize your time and output. You are the brains of all of these products, so be very, very committed to that, right? Like if you're doing something repeated or not productive enough, do something about it. And lastly, all of this is for the developers, and interestingly, a lot of it is being developed by the developers, right? All these environments that we talked about, all the CI/CD, GitOps, everything is by the developers. So give yourself some time, give yourself some roadmap that makes life easy for you. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you all. We talked about the importance of developers, and once you unleash their power, then innovation is going to be there and sustain and rapidly. Okay, thank you all.